next question I was going to ask is, what is the vision behind this specific campus and also over the whole multi-site?
Right. So in our research, we have discovered that within the DC area, the largest or the fastest growing demographic is the young adult professional. And they are eager and desire to find fulfillment, to find answers, to find purpose in their life. And we believe that what we can offer is obviously the gospel, obviously the plan of salvation, but in a context that they can understand. So our vision is to plant another campus within DC that's specifically targeting, listen, we want to reach everybody, don't get me wrong, but specifically targeting the young adult professional. So that somebody who got their college degree somewhere else and has come here working as an intern, working for a company, working either for government or working for some other organization, they come here, they're starting a new life. They're looking for purpose and meaning and establishing their own self in the world. And we want to be able to come alongside them and say an important part of that life, part of that purpose is Christ, is God. And we want to invite you here to be part of a multi-ethnic group of people who love Jesus. We're not perfect, right? We're not a perfect group, right? We make mistakes, we screw up, we drop the ball sometimes, but we recognize that, and we're a forgiving group and a grace-focused group that welcomes anybody who wants to grow in their understanding of God. And so if we can plant some additional campuses that are like that authentically love people, that love the community, that love people who don't know Jesus, we think that'd be a pretty awesome thing. Yeah. So that's what our hope is. Our hope is not just to plant a worship service, but to plant a campus, a group of people that are there that actually love the community, that love not just the young adult professional, but are investing in fighting human trafficking, that are investing in trying to combat homelessness, that are partnering with existing wonderful organization, nonprofits that are there in DC to come alongside them and help the disenfranchised, the poor, the outcast, and try to make life better for them. Even if they don't accept Jesus, we want to come alongside them and help them too.
Yeah, that's like one of the things I really loved about DC campus when I joined, because I'm not from Maryland. I've been here for 2 years, and I've tried a bunch of churches, but I didn't find community till I found DC campus. And I feel like that's really important, especially for people my age, because we're in such a social media heavy world, and especially ones that have gone to academies and stuff, our friends aren't near. So being able to find community outside of our online community that's physical is great. Even though, we've been pretty much online for most of this, but now we have our DC hangouts at the mall and stuff like that. And I've invited friends, and they're just wow, I wouldn't be doing anything on this Saturday afternoon, but now they have that time that they can spend with other believers, and there's no pressure to be anything when you come.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, to be able to just love people the way they are, and in community. Community is so important for us because discipleship happens in relationships. And in order for discipleship really to take place, there needs to be that relationship. And a relationship only happens when people can get to know each other. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be focused on bad things. But there are some churches where people come, they do a worship service, maybe a class, and then they leave and go home, but they're not really in community together. But they like each other, they care for each other, they would even say they love each other, they would even say they're friendly to each other, they might even say they're the friendliest church in town, but they're not really in that kind of a community. I don't see that in the Gospels. I don't see that in the book of Acts. I don't see that in the early church. I see people who were in real community together. And so that's why we're trying to model that at DC campus, that recognizing that is one of the felt needs of young adults. Hey, who can I hang out with that are good people? That people can come and hang out, even if they don't even know if God exists. They can come hang out, have a great fun time, leave at the end of the day saying, that was fun, my side hurts from laughing so hard, but I don't have to have confessional the next day because I did something bad, So, yeah.
Yeah. That's also something that's really cool, when I think about it, because we started off as pretty much completely virtual. We met maybe once or twice before COVID happened. And even still, when like after months of virtual community, we did meet in person, and I felt like I've known these people forever. Like, even though I had never been in the physical space with them, I remember one of the church members looked at me and they're just like, "Oh, nice to meet you in person." And I was like, "Oh yeah, we haven't met in person," because you just don't think about that. And I think that shows how organic like the community is.
Absolutely. So when we had one of our early meetings there at DC Mall, it might have been our first one actually. And it's like I knew most everybody from a Zoom, right? From here or from WhatsApp. I kind of knew people. But to actually see them and to actually talk with them, even though we had our masks on, we're being real careful, we're outdoors. But yeah, it was like, I know these people.
Yeah.
These people know me. These people care about me, and I care about them. And we all kind of knew that. And yeah, that's the community, I think, is just such a beautiful part of what we're trying to create. So yeah, very
awesome.
cool.
So I think I just have one more question for you.
Sure.
What's next? How are you guys planning to assemble this team? I know that you have quite a lot of people that are helping start up this campus, but what else can be done? How can people that aren't a part become a part?
Right. So what we're working on right now is developing a launch team, a team of people that are committed to making this happen. People who are willing to roll up their sleeves, to get in and get involved. So our focus right now is looking for people who are saying, I want to be part of that. That sounds like something that my heart is drawn towards. I have felt in my devotional life, in my prayer life, in my personal life, I have felt like that's the kind of environment, that's the kind of community, that's the kind of vision, that's the kind of mission that I have felt called to. And we want those people to say, tell me more. What can I do? And how can I get involved? And how can I make this happen? We're going to pull that team together, equip and train them to not just launch a worship service, but to launch a ministry that is involved in that community, that's serving that community, that's loving the community. So that's kind of our big step right now is putting together that launch team and working on our plans for opening this thing up so that we can find that physical location in DC and launch this thing.
Okay. Well, last thing I'll ask is, in the meantime, till we can have that physical space, what are ways that people can connect with DC Campus?
Very good. Yeah. So reach out to us, right? So we're showing this on our interest party, our gathering, our DC Vibe, to know more about this. So in whatever venue, whether we put this on Facebook or online, there are places where you can click, give us your contact information. Pastor Joanne, our campus pastor, she will reach out and talk with you, explain a little bit more to this and get you plugged in. We're doing regular launch team training. We have social gatherings in person that we're doing now. We're starting to do service projects in the community now. We have Friday night e-group Bible studies and so many other things that we're doing. So many things. So we have that combination of both virtual and physical, doing more physical as we're allowed to, of those opportunities. So even though we haven't launched this thing yet, you could become part of this community now. As you said, even though we haven't really launched full on, we've launched in many pre-ways already. So people who even are disconnected and aren't part of a church, they can become part of this now.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved. And even on our social media, there's always the need for a guest to speak or tell a testimony. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit more about DC Campus. And thank you for being a great leader and, pastor and friend to all of us while we're, launching this church.
I'm excited to see what God's going to do. I see him doing miracles already and bringing people like you and so many others that are on the launch team already. And I'm excited to see what God does.
Yeah, same. Thank you.
You're welcome.